A Legacy, the first in a classical series of men's devotionals, depicts characters of men from the Bible who represent men of today. Some succeeded while others failed. There are those who were strong yet some were weak. There is the spiritual and carnal. Kings, rulers, princes, and patriarchs, all of whom men can identify with. They all left a legacy, whether it was positive or negative. What is your legacy? The lesson today is learning how to be loyal to God, from the life of the great patriarch Abraham. 1 year later, after God's promise of an heir, Abraham and Sarah received one of those stars that God had promised, a son, Isaac. After waiting all those years, their faith in God had not failed them. Abraham was 100 years old and Sarah 91. This record has never been broken. The gift of their son was worth more than all the riches they had. After overcoming all the obstacles and problems related to Abraham's happiness, little did he know there was one more lesson of faith he had to learn. What he cherished the most he was asked to give up, not his wife or possessions, but his only son Isaac. In the midst of his happiness, God commanded Abraham to sacrifice his only son as a burnt offering. That meant killing Isaac and then burning him. This is devastating, even to the strongest of men. Very few men, if any, would have obeyed God. Can you go as far as giving up your heart and soul? This is what God was about to teach Abraham. Abraham's relationship with God was such that he was not afraid to question him, as was shown in the case of Sodom and Gomorrah. However, this time he did not question God's command, he simply obeyed. Initially, Abraham did not understand how God operates, but he learned to allow God to have his way, because God's way is the only way. It was a challenge that no other man has been asked to make. To give up your only son that you have waited a lifetime for is heart-rending. In obedience, Abraham followed the instructions God gave him and made preparations to carry them out. He did not have to think about it, procrastinate, have a nervous breakdown, have an emotional outburst, or protest. He did not turn to the bottle, become obnoxious or depressed. If he did not have a good relationship with God, he would have succumbed to any of these behaviors. You might have had to make a choice of giving up that which you love the most to have a better relationship with God, or might have had an only child like Abraham, and that child was taken away from you prematurely through death, and you have not understood why. These are lessons of God's love and faith. Some men only serve God for what he can do for them, and as soon as there is a crisis they cease following him. God was testing Abraham's love for him. He does not want to deprive men of happiness, and did not want to deprive Abraham by making such an unreasonable request. God allowed his only son to be sacrificed as proof of his love for you. Are you prepared to give up that which is holding you back from serving him? Are you willing, like Abraham, to sacrifice that which you love the most to prove your love for God? Herein is love, not that we loved God, but that he loved us, and sent his Son to be the propitiation for our sins. 1 John 4, verse 10.